Okay, we'll go ahead and get ready for the meeting here in 1 second. Oh, thank you very much. Mr. Reagan and members of our Board of Trustees, as many of you know, my name is Jamie Kosh, and I'm the Director of Logistics and Supply Chain here for Gittins Corporation. And today I'm giving my presentation on the China sourcing project that you all have basically worked with me on, and I've worked with you for the past 2 meetings. We've talked about getting ready for the options of going with China supply chain and what that means for Gittins Corporation. So basically, to start off, the conversation has been about taking a look at our options with outsourcing the manufacturing facility here at Gittins Corporation. Basically, we're spending quite a bit of money on the manufacturing and have to look at the outsourcing and the options that we have with saving money on that respect. So basically what I put together for you in the formal report, all of you have copies of it. I do have an electronic copy with me here today. Is looking at going overseas and working with a company called JFPS Manufacturing. The JFPS group assists small to medium-sized companies with their object of going overseas for manufacturing. So really taking a look with them, working with a specific person at JFPS group has really helped us move this process forward and look at different options that we have with outsourcing our manufacturing from Gittins Corporation, currently our domestic production. So basically going through what we have today, basically looking at the figures that I've given you in the report, we're looking at current sourcing of the U.S., the domestic product. Basically it's coming out to about $5 when we're looking at each product that we produce, how much it's costing Gittins Corporation. Production cost is $3, materials is about $2. That $3 does make up the labor, basically retirement for our domestic workers, healthcare going up every year in any way at the profits that we currently have at Gittins Corporation. Working with JFPS Group, we're looking at the China sourcing at about $1.25 per production and about 50 cents per material. Going with the China materials are based locally there. We're actually importing a lot of our products, our raw materials from China and from Asia to come into the United States. We're paying for that freight, paying for all those things. When we go with the China sourcing project, basically those products are right there. They're ready to be used. With the mass and the quantities that are being used over in China right now, we can go ahead and take advantage of the large and the bulk orders that we have and other companies that are using the same materials that we are to basically demolish that labor, the material costs that we have. So going with that. Now at the bottom I did add a dollar for each product that we produce, and going into that basically $3.25 is cut down to $2.25 if we do want to enter the Asian market. Now with that, basically in the report that I have, we're opening ourselves up to 1.3 billion new customers. The Asian population, what we're working with going into that continent and expanding from there. Currently, we're located only in the U.S. Our product is not being shipped overseas. We don't have that capability being a small to medium-sized company. We don't have that force behind us to move that product. With the JFPS group that we're being involved in, they can actually help us evolve and move those products, actually packaging and distribution in overseas markets. So to me, $1 per product is a more than fair assumption to get into that, and basically we're going to increase our profits quadruple based in the next 10 years, depending on how the market goes and overseas fluctuations. It's only going to increase for us, as well as taking a look at what products and how we want to move those products in overseas markets is going to be very good for the Gittins Corporation. So the next thing we really want to look at, the recommendations that we have for going at the JFPS group. JFPS has been a trendsetter. The great thing about them is they have the experience behind them. They have over 10 years of experience working with overseas markets. So we're not going into this, we're not the pioneers moving into that overseas market. JFPS Group has helped hundreds of small to medium-sized companies move into there. Back in the day, about 10 years ago, when the overseas market in China opened up, only the big companies could pay to play in that market. JFPS Group really has moved forward and evolved using their expertise with the large companies and really assisting the small to medium-sized companies push forward into that market. So not being the pioneer, we have tried and true experience over in those markets. Basically the production side of it, the companies that JFPS works with in China know their stuff. They know what we're looking for. They know exactly what's important to us. The devil being in the details. Basically what we've said the whole time across the board is when you move into that market, when you choose a company, you need to it needs to be a partnership, and there are things that we need to do on our side to continue that partnership and make it flourish. One of those things is really having people on the ground in the manufacturing facility from our U.S. company that knows the quality and the control processes there, as well as supply chain for the U.S. so that we can bring our process back to the U.S., bring our products back to the U.S., I'm sorry. So we want to make sure that we have people on the ground now. With that, in the speculation, in the report that I put together, basically those 65 workers that we would be downsizing out of our manufacturing plant, basically liquidating our manufacturing process, we would keep the 5 supervisors, managers, and those with quality control, and give them the option of moving overseas and working right in that manufacturing floor that we have. We want to make sure that they watch the quality control, that we're testing, that we're making sure that our products are safe. And that's always been the Gittins Corporation's philosophy, not only making sure that we give a good product for a fair price, but we also a very safe product. We want to make sure that no one's harmed from using our products, and moving forward, we want to make sure that we continue that, basically giving, under promise, over deliver philosophy that we've always had here at Gittins Corporation. So going with that, I know there are a lot of decisions to be made if we want to move into that market, what we want to do from then on and going forward, but I think JFPS can really assist us with those things. Now finally, that liquidation process that we're working through with our own manufacturing plant, we want to make sure that our human resource office comes through, has designed a fair severance package, as well as job training. If we have to give that to the people that are asking for it, we want to make sure that we have something set up for them so that they can do adequate job training to get better jobs in our communities, to stay locally if they choose to do so. We'll also work with our job boards that we have and other similar manufacturing positions and forces that we have in our area to make sure that we can give them the insight to go to those different places to get jobs, fair paying jobs in the area. So we want to make sure that we help those that we are downsizing, that we're doing our part to assist them in finding new jobs, giving them the fair severance package, and actually human resources is going to follow up after I'm done with the reporting to give us something on their side to tell us what they've come up with as far as something for the Board of Trustees to basically consider and go over with. Now, back to what we're looking at as far as the bottom line, we're looking at a pretty substantial increase in our profits by moving overseas, working with that manufacturer that we've established contact with over there, and moving this project forward. Now, a couple things that we want to do at the end is really our conclusion, our consideration, and recommendations. Basically, we need to establish some funds for us to put people on the ground over in China. We need to get on the ground there. We need to work with our manufacturer there. We need to make sure that our quality control is up to par, as well as our research and development. We want to make sure that our products that we are selling in that market work with that market, and if we need to retrofit or make any changes in the design, we do that before we start to manufacture. So we definitely want to make sure that we have that on the ground. The second thing is the foreign travel. Now, we're very small to medium-sized company. We don't have a lot of money for those things, those travel. If we're going to go and move into that market, we need to go big. I feel that we need to put the adequate funds into that to make sure that we're supplied, that we don't get stuck or do anything halfway. If we're going to make this jump working with the JFPS group, we want to make sure that we do it 110%. So we want to make sure that we put that up front using the basically our funds that we have set aside right now for those kind of things are our severance funds, we need to make sure that we do some things to make sure that we have funding to move into that market. So the upfront cost is going to be a little bit higher, but in the end, the profits, even after the first year, are going to basically blow anything away that we've made in the past. So we want to make sure that we're